great atmosphere here at the Bradley Center as we get ready to take on the Purdue Boilermakers and the Marquette Golden Eagles out of the Big East. Welcome inside. It's Mike Hill hanging out with my man Steve Lavin, sharing the sugar. Should be a good one between the Big Ten and the Big East. Two teams that went to the NCAA tournament last year. You got the size and the experience of Purdue against the perimeter-oriented Marquette Golden Eagles, a very young team today.
Yeah, the big edge, as you mentioned, Isaac Haas, the big fella down low for Purdue. He's the anchor at both ends of the floor, and Purdue shoots the ball so well from distance, Mike, 41% last year from long range. So they create matchup problems. Vince Edwards, a mobile frontline player, that map painter, will move around to take advantage of his skill set and size. And of course, Carson Edwards, a beat beeper, a road runner, blaze of speed, can create for himself and plays fearlessly. This is the Boilermaker team, Mike, Sweet 16 and an outright Big Ten title last year. 4 of those 5 starters back. Marquette has their hands full. Yeah, they got 4 seniors this year. They got 1 sophomore. That sophomore is a really good one. Carson Edwards, first outright title you mentioned since 1996. They are averaging 108 points a game so far in this season. How about the Marquette Golden Eagles, though? This is a team that last year led the nation at 3-point field goal percentage, very perimeter-oriented. Go there. What do you expect out of them? Well, Marquette led the country, as you mentioned, in three-point shooting. The key for them is, can they get any production on the inside, and how do they choose to guard Purdue? I don't think you can give a steady look defensively against this Boilermaker team. Expect some zone defense, some man-to-man. How they guard the post and how they defend pick and rolls will be critical. Marquette needs to keep Purdue off balance. Easier said than done, because Purdue can score in transition. They execute well on the half court, and they can beat you up on second shots on the boards. Hence, the key that Coach Wojciechowski wants is a good home crowd and his team's ability to shoot the three.
Hey, Coach, it is a great atmosphere in here tonight. As you can tell, the Bradley Center is rocking right now. It is going crazy. Marquette, a big challenge against a team that Coach Wojciechowski called possibly a Final Four contender this year.
Well, there's no doubt. When you look at Purdue's experience, the balance they have across the board of size and strength, skill and quickness, balance on their roster in terms of upperclassmen and underclassmen, and you build a team offensively and defensively from the inside out. And when you look at Purdue's strength with Vince Edwards and Isaac Hayes down low, that's as good as it gets in college basketball.
What would a win for Marquette do against Purdue do for this program?
Well, they had the great win last year, kind of a watershed moment when Marquette knocked off number-ranked Villanova on their home floor. So it's important they continue the momentum. That's what Coach Wojo wants, get a little bit better each day. If they can win tonight, it gives an infusion to this program. The new arena next year, the NCAA tournament last year, another opportunity to find out where they are this year as a program.
And once again, you heard Coach Wojciechowski talking about this is a Final Four team. Could be a Final Four team. Where do you see them stacking up in the Big Ten this year?
I think they've got a chance to contend for another Big Ten title and go back-to-back. Clearly, when you look at Michigan State, they're also right there, and Minnesota. And Minnesota, Purdue, they've got the most experience returning, but Tom Izzo, as you know, always tough. His teams play their best basketball late in the year. It's going to be a dogfight with those 3 teams, Minnesota, Michigan State.
It's time for basketball right now. Let's get it over to Brian Anderson and Stephen Barlow with the call.
All right, Mike, Steve, thank you, and welcome to the live spot here at the Bradley Center. Good to get those studio guys out of their element, right? Right in the fire, actually. Good to have them with us. Great to have you with us as well. Brian Anderson, Stephen Bardo. And Stephen, this is a fantastic matchup, all part of the Gavick tip-off games. This is the 3rd year. I love the pits that it puts together right early in the season. And for me, this is one of those find-out games for both of these programs.
It really is. You're talking about a Purdue team that has played a bunch of games in the summer internationally, so they are almost in mid-season form, where you've got the younger Marquette Golden Eagles who have a great test here with one of the better balanced teams inside and out in the Purdue Boilermakers.
Well, both of these teams are prolific from the three-point arc as we take a look at the Jeep Grand Cherokee starting lineups for Matt Painter's Purdue Boilermakers. 4 seniors in the starting lineup. Carson Edwards right there is the lone sophomore, lone underclassman. There's one of the best players in the country. Vincent Edwards, a preseason Big Ten all-first-team selection, one of the most versatile in the country. And then the Jeep Grand Cherokee starting lineup for the Marquette Golden Eagles. Their sophomore point guard Marcus Howard is back. He and Rousey make up a great backcourt. But, Stephen, the fact that Howard is back is big news for Marquette. He's finally feeling healthy again.
Yeah, he banged that ankle up a little bit. Did not start against Mount St. Mary's, but I expect him to be 100% and totally juiced in this environment.
All right, let's tip it off. The Gavitt tip-off games underway here in Milwaukee at the Bradley Center. Purdue out of the Big Ten, Marquette out of the Big East. Terry Weimer, Bo Borowski, Rob Riley are 3 officials, and on the board quickly, Isaac Haas gets us started here this afternoon.
And if Isaac Haas can put Matt Help down in the post like that, it's going to be a long night for Marquette. That was too easy.
See how Steve Wojciechowski plays this here today defensively. Both of these teams are excellent from behind the arc, and they are not afraid to shoot the threes. Big question will be, how do you match up with Purdue? As Rousey gets off the first 3, and that's off the hands of Edwards. That'll stay in the possession of Marquette. Our keys to success, sponsored by SoFi, offering smart solutions to help you reach our financial goals. What do you have on these two, Stephen?
Well, Marquette can really fill it up from outside. Purdue's got to match their prowess, but as we just saw, Marquette's got to compete against this huge front line of Purdue. If they don't, it could be a long night.
Here's Rousey again, and he gets the scoring started for Marquette. A combination of Rousey and Marcus Howard, 2 of the best three-point shooters in college basketball. The big man, Isaac Haas, 7-2, and he missed the dunk. Edwards there for the rebound, goes up strong. No, and it's Hauser pulls down the board.
Tell you what, Golden Eagles very fortunate in that regard, but 2 really high percentage shots already by Isaac Haas.
Marquette coming off a win, their first game of the season against Mount St. Mary's. That was on Friday. And as Stephen mentioned, Purdue has been at it for a while. Long exhibition season. We'll get into that a little later as Rousey connects once again. Purdue's already played 2 games to start this season as well. SIU Edwardsville last Friday and Chicago State on Sunday. Dakota Mathias, his first try is good.
One of the most underrated players in college basketball, Dakota Mathias, an elite perimeter defender, and now starting to add to that three-point shooting ability. He can put it on the deck and create.
Coming off an 18-point game, he also dished 6 assists in that game that went over Chicago State. That's going to be a turnover for Marquette and Purdue basketball.
Andrew Rousey really coming out aggressive. I like it, though. You know, coach doesn't like that turnover, but whenever Rousey can turn the corner, he can create for his teammates because you've got to stay at home with him.
Purdue protects the basketball very well. Excellent point guard in P.J. Thompson. 4 seniors and the sophomore start for the Boilermakers as Mathias comes up short. And Rousey has it. Marquette wants to run. Here's Anik Cheatham. The lefty has it blocked. Carson Edwards got a piece of that. And now in transition, it is Purdue. Haas with the throwdown.
Wow. Carson Edwards comes from the backside to get the block. Great hustle defensively by Purdue.
There's a lot of ways you can go with the Boilermakers. They have talent everywhere, but this sophomore sensation, Carson Edwards, we saw him last year as a freshman.
Oh, man, getting up big time on the block, and then P.J. Thompson drawing Matt Help to him. Isaac Haas not going to get an easier shot all night than that.
Very familiar territory here in Milwaukee for the Purdue Boilermakers. This is their site last season in the NCAA tournament, advancing to the Sweet 16 with 2 wins here at the Bradley Center. They stayed in the same hotel. They took the same bus over here today, trying to keep everything as normal as they could as Howard draws a foul underneath. Isaac Haas picks up his first foul. What a year for Matt Painter and the Boilers last year, and finally getting over the hump, Stephen, and getting to that Sweet 16.
Yeah, you know what? I tell you, Matt Painter's one of the coolest coaches in all of college basketball. If you come to his practice, he gets on his guys, but it's to a point where, you know, he's letting them figure things out. So as a player, you would love to play for him, and the results speak for themselves.
Here's Sam Hauser on the take with Edwards on him. You saw Haas go to the bench. Matt Harms is in. And the Boilers actually get bigger with Harms on the floor. He's 7'3". Isaac Haas at 7'2". As Painter's Boilers turn it over right here. This is a massive team across the board, but yet they have the skill of the three-point shooting. And here comes freshman Theo John in for Matt Help.
Now watch Theo John. He's not built like a freshman. A solidly built young man, but he gets in foul trouble, so they need him to maybe back off a little bit and not get so juiced up.
Rousey runs a point with Howard on the floor together. That's a travel and another turnover for Rousey. Checks down at his feet to make sure. Second turnover for Marquette.
Well, that's the 7'3" Matt Harms coming over to help, forcing that turnover. Rousey had some success turning the corner early on, but tough to see over Matt Harms.
Sakar Adam is in for Marquette as Anip Cheatham will sit. Adam was the starter in the opener on Friday. Marcus Howard battling that foot injury, did have some minutes and played well, but didn't practice earlier in the week. So now Adam comes off the bench today. Edwards, he slips, able to maintain his dribble. No, he walks with it. That's a couple of slips here on the floor at the Bradley Center. I don't know if the surface is a little slick or not, or maybe they're a little amped up.
Well, and I was making fun of Carson Edwards. He was good about it. I said, look like you're playing with some Timberlands. Look at his shoes. They look like boots. But he's awfully comfortable with them, and you know the results speak for themselves.
It's a Sunday best here on a Tuesday night. Settling in here, first half, Marquette and Purdue, part of the Gavitt games. Nice dump off for Hauser, and Theo John finishes with the reverse.
Marquette does one of the best jobs in all of college basketball of spacing the floor. So they can shoot the three, but they can also have dribble drive penetration because they space so well.
John got in the air and able to deflect that pass with his knee. And now Marquette moving fast. And now Hauser will get it set up. Good job, transition defense for the Boilermakers.
Mismatch here, Hauser on 5'11" P.J. Thompson.
And Hauser will drop the bomb. Sam Hauser has been ill all week. He has not practiced over the weekend. Did practice yesterday. Got himself back into the starting lineup, but he has been under the weather. Beware of the weary, as they say, as he hits his first three. This is the matchup we're all waiting to see as Vincent Edwards gets on the board for the first time.
Vincent Edwards, only player in college basketball with 1,000 points, 500 rebounds, and 300 assists. So it shows you his versatility. If he adds that to his game on a consistent basis, it's going to be tough to stop.
That's going the other way. John set the hard screen, wide feet, turning it over.
Yes, Sam Hauser, nice dish to his fellow big, Theo John, and then notices the mismatch. I'm going to shoot right over the top. Sam Hauser.
Two conferences.
East College Hoops on FS1 is sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Bradley Center, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, home of the Marquette Golden Eagles. And they are up early on the Purdue Boilermakers. Good run for Purdue. Already 2-0 this year, coming off a lot of confidence with their season last season. They won their 23rd Big Ten title, winning the outright Big Ten championship last year, and then advancing to the first Sweet 16 since 2010. Had wins over Iowa State and Vermont right here on this floor at the Bradley Center. That's the big loss for the Boilers. They are without Caleb Swanigan now with the Portland Trailblazers in the NBA. He represented 25% of their offense, points and rebounds and assists as well. And then Purdue, top 10 team, three-point shooting last year, and it figures to be the same once again this season. So how do you replace a Biggie Swanigan? That's the major question that everybody has for Matt Painter, and his answer is we have a lot more weapons who are now going to have to elevate their game and be more impactful in the offense. Turnover coming out of the timeout. Nojel Eastern, the freshman point guard, in, and Rousey trying to make a pay, cannot. Adam gives him another shot. Rousey has it swatted by Harms. There's no room in there at 7-3.
I'm telling you, man, Matt Harms may be the surprise player in the Big Ten Conference this year. Big, 7'3", but very skilled, but he's got some nastiness to him. Doesn't mind mixing it up.
Keep an eye on him. He will run the floor. He's very athletic. Still learning how to play with his back to the basket, and he travels to turn it over this time. Hard to believe that a guy 7'3" is not considered a true center, but he never really played that position growing up in the Netherlands.
Yeah, and you could tell he's slight of frame, although he's gained 25 pounds since arriving on campus, but it's a very skilled guy. You don't see bigs who like to mix it up like that a lot.
Purdue's turned it over 5 times already. Theo John giving it up to Howard. Howard, a great three-point shooter. Now a little step back. Comes up short. Vincent Edwards on the floor with some of these younger players and the bench players, with Harms and Eastern on the floor. Ryan Klein getting his first run as well. There's Harms. He is a lefty, and he scores it off the window.
You know how tough it is for a big man to catch and shoot and avoid a charge like that? Matt Harms giving a little glimpse of what he can do. Marcus Howard is really forcing. That was last time down, Brian. That was his first shot attempt.
There's a foul on the elbow as Edwards thought he had all ball there, as did his head coach. That would have been an easy dunk in transition. Let's see what we got here on the foul.
Rob Riley got this correct. Right there.
Yeah.
That's a good call. And then watch Harms. Watch how good this is 7'3", ladies and gentlemen. Catches, avoids the charge, goes off the glass with touch. Boy, he's got a bright future.
9.7 rebounds in 19 minutes against Chicago State. And more substitutions for Marquette, as Greg Elliott is in for Howard. So we're starting to see some of the future of this Marquette Golden Eagles squad getting an early run, and a great test for them against Purdue. A team that is expected to contend in the Big Ten. I think everybody has Michigan State at the top of that Big Ten. But Purdue figures to be a factor as well. Not afraid is Elliott. He misfires on his first try.
No Joe Easton, the young man with the basketball out of Evanston, Illinois. A lot of upside.
Edwards fires a three, and hit from behind. And the foul will belong to Nojel Eastern. And that'll go the other way, Marquette basketball.
Kind of interesting. Carson Edwards, similar to Marcus Howard on the other side. Both of those guys, 2 of the leading scorers on their team, but haven't touched it a lot, Brian. So they forced their opportunities here in the last couple of possessions.
What you're seeing right now is why these coaches love these kind of matchups this early in the season. You're trying to find the right combinations. And in the first 2 games for Purdue, as that is blocked by Isaac Haas. And here come the Boilermakers. Edwards gives it up. Ryan Klein will pull. Short. And it's out of bounds off of Cheatham. But, Stephen, these are 2 teams that are trying to find those combinations, and you can really find out early in the season against the competition that we have here today who's going to work well together in the bright lights.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And, you know, that's why Coach Wojciechowski was so excited about tonight. Sometimes you see coaches who are a little bit nervous, a little bit uptight, but he seemed very energetic about this opportunity this early on his home floor.
Haas working on help. Little turnaround. No. And Elliott pulls down the board. It looks like right now Marquette is going to let Haas gather as much as he can. They're protecting that three-point line.
Yeah, and they're doing a good job. Matt helped that time, did his work early.
Adam taking on Haas. The foul, no good by Help. And Isaac there to clean up the board.
Everyone's letting this fly right here.
Not giving it up. High off the window, and there to put it back is Eifert.
You can see it in the eye. Great job by Eifert, but Carson Edwards, Brian, I saw it when he touched the rock. He wasn't giving that one up.
Carson Edwards, the sophomore out of Atascocita, Texas. He was terrific last year as a freshman for Purdue. It'll be a kick ball. No. We got a dead ball. We have a media timeout. 12-10 Purdue.
So Dave here is taking the family up to the lake for the weekend.
Big East College Hoops on FS1, sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Downtown Milwaukee, and just a few miles from the historic Third Ward, we are at the Bradley Center. Marquette and Purdue a moment ago. Matt Painter in the Purdue huddle. Let's listen in.
Good execution. Just wait. Just wait right there. Now we're going to get you in space to be able to play. When you don't get a couple, you go hunting. Don't worry about it. Get in a rhythm. Get a couple free throws. Get a layup. Get a wide open three. Then you get it rolling. All right? Hey, defensively, great job on that down and getting your hands up.
Well, see, Brian, when he's talking about hunting, he's talking to Carson Edwards about forcing his opportunities. Get to the basket, get on the free throw line, work the ball around, and let the game come to you a little bit. That's great direction to calm his super sophomore down early on.
Is that how you single a guy out without actually saying his name?
Yes, yes.
It's very passive-aggressive.
You know what? And, you know, he told me, Matt Painter told me about Carson Edwards last year. He said he needs some moon with his son. Meaning that he goes hard all the time, but he's got to learn how to change pace a little bit.
Here's Cheatham with a shot clock at 4. He fires up a 3. The Golden Eagles of Marquette going over 4 minutes without scoring now. This is a 6-0 Purdue run. It's 12-10. It's been an excellent defensive game thus far. Now another turnover, and up ahead is Cheatham, and he can fly, and he can finish.
And that's good for Haneef Cheatham. He's really struggled with his confidence on the offensive side, but when he focuses on dribble penetration, getting to the rim, and looking for his teammates, he's very, very good.
This Marquette team won 19 games last year. They finished 10-8, third in the Big East. One of the 7 teams to advance to the NCAA tournament last season, as Haas off the window scores. He has 6 points in this one.
And now it looks like Marquette's going to start double teaming Haas on the block. Marcus Howard comes over a little bit too late.
Hauser with Eifert on him. Thompson works on Howard for a terrific point guard matchup in this one tonight. Shot clock ticks, down to 5 it goes. Elliott gives it to Hauser, and Hauser in trouble here, fires a long-range 3, and Haas there to clean it up. It's pretty much one and done for Marquette with Haas underneath.
Yeah, Purdue's doing an excellent job of not giving up high percentage shots. The last 3 possessions, Marquette really struggling to get clean looks.
Haas just pounding his way inside. That's cash money for Isaac Haas.
Now listen, Brian, when you're that large and you have that kind of touch, when you go away from the defense, that's a beautiful move.
Now in his senior year, Isaac Haas, he's from Oaks Bluff, Alabama, and a wayward path to get to Purdue, but he's turned out to be a terrific contributor and gotten better and better each year. And he is going to be a real force this season as Held gets a pass. Look at Edwards take it right out of his hands. Edwards was on the line when he came down. That'll be Marquette ball, but you can already sense Carson Edwards has that next level hand-eye coordination.
I mean, I tell you what, and he is really aggressive on the defensive end. No foul at all, just takes the ball right out of Held's hands. That's aggressive defensive play coming from the weak side.
Edwards will get a breather. Ryan Klein is back in. That's Matthias on Rousey. Matthias, one of the better defenders in all of college basketball, and whoever he's on is usually Painter's answer to try to slow that person down.
No doubt about it. Usually Rousey gets a lot of those and-one situations because he does a great job of pump faking his defender, but Dakota Matthias being disciplined, staying down, and getting his hand up. Crowd didn't like that, but we got a veteran officiating crew with Terry Weimer, Bo Borowski, and Rob Riley. They know what they're doing.
Thompson will get it set up. Bunch of sharpshooters on the floor here with Haas in the middle. And they're going one-on-one with Haas again. He'll turn off the window from the other side. Cannot hit. There's Hauser with a rebound.
So Marquette is choosing to let Haas and the big fellas go one-on-one instead of double teaming and getting their defense in rotation, trying to get Purdue not to shoot so many threes. It's been effective so far.
And Haas has half of their points, 8 of the 16 on the board. Think about Mathias right on Howard. Got a hand on it, deflects it, shot clock at 5. And Howard, little floater, he's got that. And Marcus Howard delivers his first basket of the game.
I love to see young players develop their game. That time, knowing that he had to get that off. That teardrop of that runner, every guard needs one of those.
Well, Howard is only 5'11", that's generous. And you need something like that if you're going to take it in the paint. He's an exceptional three-point shooter, and that gives him another look. Held with good defense on Haas. Marquette on the move. Hauser with his head up. Inside to help with the mountain coming in on him. And a foul on Isaac Haas. Second foul on the big man.
Howard comes back and gets the loose ball, and Brian, it's raining in Milwaukee with the teardrop.
Rated M for mature.
We had a chance to listen into Steve Wojciechowski and the huddle of the Marquette Golden Eagles.
You gotta love being in a game like this. You don't back away from a game like this. You keep grinding it out. Keep grinding it out. Keep grinding it out. Keep grinding it out. Strong faces all the time. Okay?
I love Coach Wojciechowski, man. He acts like he's playing, Brian. He's excited. He's smiling. He's encouraging his guys and just giving them confidence that they're able to compete at this level. They are doing an excellent job defensively on Purdue right now.
And he just played a little defense on his point guard. I think he just stuck his finger right in Howard's eye.
He did. You know, Marcus Howard.
Up.
He only needs one eye, though, because he's a dead-eye shooter, Marcus Howard. But no, I love the job they're doing on Purdue defensively right now.
Wojciechowski as Howard fires up a 3. And that's Edwards with the rebound. Edwards up to Thompson. That's a 2. And he drops it. That's only the first basket for P.J. Thompson, his first attempt. 18-14 Purdue. One thing Marquette is obviously doing here, and it's always the decision against Purdue. Do you let him shoot threes or do you work inside? Theo John can't get that one to go. So right now, Purdue is 0 for 2 in three-point tries. That's just their third attempt, and that was a hustle shot.
And you know what? In their first 2 games, Purdue took 47 threes combined. So Marquette doing an excellent job of limiting the three-point looks.
Oh, swatted by Harms. Just a blast on Hanif Cheatham.
Hey, you know what? I'll take Matt Harms on my team anytime. When you got a big that shows some emotion, and, you know, he's athletic, he's long. Love this young guy here. Carson Edwards coming from behind with the hustle play. Matt Harms sending it back without fouling. Same thing here with Isaac Haas. And then Matt Harms this last time. Hanif Cheatham, you are good coming to the rim, but I'm going to meet you every time.
It's not just a block. It is a full-on swat with a little aggression behind it. He was held that time by John. Foul goes on the Marquette freshman. Matt Harms can be a handful. 4 blocks in this game for Purdue.
Wow. Tough break for Marquette. Theo John goes to the bench with 3 fouls. Remember, we talked about how quickly he gets in foul trouble. He's a freshman trying to learn at this level. Takes some time to adjust.
John had 5 fouls in their first game as Dakota Mathias hits. So we're talking game plan Marquette against Purdue, and there is a pretty good resource for the Marquette Golden Eagles and a guy who is sitting out this year but has Big Ten ties in Ed Morrow.
Yeah, Ed Morrow giving the scouting report on how to defend Purdue. He had success when Purdue came out to Nebraska last year. The Cornhuskers got him. Got in Lincoln, so Ed Morrow, a great addition here.
We saw Ed before the game. He came over, and this is his sit-out year. He's ineligible with the transfer. He's going to be a big force next season. But Wojciechowski said he was a big force before this game with a scouting report of these guys.
Yeah, he understands what Purdue is trying to do inside and out. And the way that they have allowed Isaac Haas to go one-on-one but stayed at home on 3-point shooters has allowed him to stay close here in the first half.
Purdue up 6 over Marquette. They played terrific defense. And it is Matthias who comes away with that one. It is just tough for Marquette to get anything up. A lot of their points coming in transition or in scramble plays. Vince Edwards back on the floor. Harms sets the screen. You got the starting four perimeter with Harms together now. And Harms comes up empty. Rousey with 5.5 remaining in this first half. Marquette's going to have to find some space somewhere. Rousey gets in, gives it up, and Held can't finish. And there's Edwards flying in for the rebound again.
They got numbers, Purdue does.
And Edwards goes strong. He takes the contact and count the basket. This guy is a bull going to the basket.
What kind of effort is that, Brian? He comes back and gets a big-time rebound in traffic. Does Carson Edwards, then fills the lane, gets it back. And that's Texas Strong going to the hole. What's his hometown?
Atascocita.
You said that. You say that a lot easier than I do.
It's in the Houston area. Powerhouse high school in Texas. I remember talking to Carson last year. We did the Gavitt games for BTN last year in that matchup against Villanova, and it was just getting cold, but it was still in the 60s. And Carson said, I don't have enough clothes for this. I wasn't expecting this kind of cold air. I'm saying, man, we played golf the next day. It's not even cold yet, my friend. But he's fit right in West Lafayette. What a player he is. He is going to have a great career at Purdue when it's all said and done. He's going to stack up a ton of numbers. That is a whistle underneath as Howard goes to the rack. They're going to get Matthias on the foul. That'll be a 1-and-1 now for Marquette, and finally a chance to stop down and try to get some points with no time running off the clock.
I like the decision by Marcus Howard. He understands that Dakota Matthias is really shading him for the three-point shot, so Howard could put it on the deck and get past his initial defender and then create.
All Big East freshman team last year. Marcus Howard, the best three-point shooter among freshmen in college basketball a season ago. He shot it 54.7%, actually led the nation in that category. 54.7% from behind the arc. A fearless freshman, and once he kind of took over and he and Rousey, although undersized, started to work in the backcourt, that's when things took off for Marquette last season.
Well, you talk about a young guy getting adjusted to the cold. He goes to school one day and he forgot to dry his hair properly. He goes into class and he wipes his hair and some of his hair falls off because it's frozen. So all these young guys have that learned adjustment period.
It's Klein all the way to the basket. Good story, Bardo. That's a young man's story because that's not growing back for us.
Good point on that.
Here's Cheatham for three. That's a good answer. They needed that, Marquette. Finally, one goes through. 5 points for Hanif Cheatham. A dunk and a three.
And you know what? Now you're going to see Hanif Cheatham get very aggressive. He's one of those guys that feeds off of his offense.
Harms on Hauser, backing his way in, and sticks it with the left. A couple of buckets for Matt Harms.
I'm telling you, Sam Hauser, you can't play much better defense than that.
Howard for three. And Harms with the rebound. And Harms is clutching at his back a little bit on the way down the floor. Keep an eye on him. Here's Edwards. Wow, man, he just creates his own so well.
And he's got such low center of gravity. He's so strong that if he gets a shoulder on you, it's canceled Christmas.
Carson Edwards, the super soft from Atascocita, Texas, going strong to the hole, strong like bull.
Hey, I'm Mike Hill back here in Milwaukee. Coming up at the half, we got a showdown in Chicago. The #1 Duke being pushed to the limit against Michigan State. And, of course, we'll break down tonight's game between Marquette and Purdue. Got to get something going this side if you're the Marquette Golden Eagles on offense. And, of course, they got to be able to stop that offense on the inside as well. We'll have Steve Lavin to help me break it down at the half. But right now, Brian Bartle, back to you.
All right, Mike, great to have you guys here in Milwaukee with us on location. And how about a little teaching opportunity here, Stephen? What do you have?
Well, Marquette, watch here. Isaac Haas is right here, and Marcus Howard, this defender is going to come over and try to double team. So they're giving Purdue a few different looks. But Isaac Haas is so big and skilled, he's able to go ahead and score. Now, this is Matt Harms this time. Now watch the defense of Marquette. They're going to stay at home, and Harms is expecting a double team. It doesn't come, but he's still able to get his shot off and score. So Marquette doing a good job of trying to change defenses, but the skill of the big men, Harms and Haas, really difficult to defend.
Now watching Harms and Haas, they're both on the bench right now. Harms has something going on physically. I don't know if he tweaked his back or if he's cramping a little bit. He's pounding water during that timeout. And Purdue is going to be forced to go small here with Haas with 2 fouls. And Harms on the bench with him. Physically not able to return here in this window. We'll keep an eye on him. And here's Cheatham, and right away gets to the rack but cannot finish.
Jaquil Taylor coming over and doing a great job right at the end of the release to bother that shot there by Cheatham.
It's not a bad third option down in the paint with a 6'10" junior in Jaquil Taylor, who's battled all kind of injuries throughout his career, even going back to his high school career. Klein runs into a wall. Here's Taylor who finishes. Nicely done. Jaquil Taylor comes in and immediately into the scorebook.
And boy, Ryan Klein, excellent pass that time in traffic. Ryan Klein has been primarily a spot-up shooter, but the second time he's gone to the hole, and great vision to find Taylor on the backside. Or Purdue really hitting on all cylinders here. Their bench giving very good minutes.
Now this is the window for Marquette. 2:41 remaining in this first half. You figure it's go time for the Golden Eagles with this lineup on the floor for Purdue. Haas and Harms both on the bench. They have combined for 12 points. They've shot 11 of Purdue's 25 field goal attempts thus far. But both set for now, and you figured it'll be that way the rest of this half as Howard hits the free throws, and it's a 9-point Boilermaker lead.
It's interesting. Both teams going to a much smaller lineup. Sam Hauser right now at the 5 for Marquette. Jaquil Taylor at the 5 for Purdue, so much smaller lineup.
Catch and shoot for Klein. Can't hit. Hauser with a board.
Howard might pull up in transition here.
And Howard lets it fly and hits the rainbow three-pointer. 7 points for the sophomore Marcus Howard.
You got to pick Marcus Howard coming off the bus. That dude's got unlimited range, and he got the green light. Similar to this young man right here.
Edwards runs into traffic, turns it over. Elliott jumps the lane. Elliott, he's shifty. Finds Rousey. Pass was a little short, but Rousey can't hit. Followed by Hauser. And now there's room to work for Marquette inside. Center, 7-0 run for Marquette.
Well, if you're guarding Marcus Howard, even Eifert, you cannot go underneath the screen on him. You got to go over the top. You got to know your personnel. The best three-point shooter in all of college basketball last season. You got to pick him up from the parking lot.
Both of these teams led their respective conference in three-point shooting. Marquette last year led the Big East in points, three-point shooting, 3 points made, steals. It figured to be a three-point matchup, but Marquette has flipped the game plan defensively a little bit. And now Harms back in for Purdue. So Painter counters with a little size, trying to stop this 7-0 run. Harms gets a double team. Shot clock at 9. Klein with Elliott on him. Klein goes. He's blocked by Elliott. Marquette in transition. Howard with Harms running the floor, pulls it back, and Elliott is fouled by Harms. First foul on Harms. And Greg Elliott, the freshman out of Detroit, able to control that transition for Marquette.
You can see the promise in this young man. Slightly built like most freshmen, but he's long, he's aggressive. That time drawing the contact.
East English Village High School for Greg Elliott as he hits the first free throw. He got a In 18 minutes in the opener on Friday, scored his first collegiate basket, had just 2 points in that game, fired up a three-pointer and missed. 6'3", 170, and that might be a little generous, but he's a player. He is silky smooth, and he hits a couple of free throws, and it's a 2-point ball game. 9-0 run for Marquette.
Well, the defense is sorely picked up here. Look how far extended Marquette is defensively.
And Harms pushes off. Offensive foul on the big man. That's his second foul now, and he and Isaac Haas with 2 fouls and a decision right now for Matt Painter under a minute to play.
You got to leave Harms out there right now. No pun intended. Harms' way.
Rousey trying to turn the corner. Nice tee by Thompson. And now Purdue moves it. Here's Edwards. Oh, little jump step. And Edwards cash.
And he is quick as a hiccup. Can change direction. Is strong. And got the ultimate green light.
6 points for Carson Edwards. Howard with a little hesitation. And a little floater is good.
Ooh, that was bitter beer face material right there, Brian.
Tit for tat.
My goodness. We got ourselves a shootout here in the first half.
2-point game. Shot clock is off. Hauser slows it down. Oh, it's blocked by Rousey. Got time. Down to 2. Rousey all the way in. Had it swatted by Edwards. And that takes us to the end of the first half. Carson Edwards flying high as he pins that one on the backboard. Wow. Athletic first half from many sources.
I'm telling you, he thought he had an open look. Rousey does a great job of coming from the side. And you think Rousey's going to have an open layup? No, sir. Carson Edwards doesn't give up on the play. Great effort on both sides.
A rally for Marquette has tightened this game, and that's going to send us to our halftime break. 32-30. After this break, Mike Hill, Steve Lavin, standing by just a few feet from us. It's the Fox College Hoops halftime report.
Art.
Fox College Hoops, Purdue and Marquette, the Gavitt tip-off games. Take a look at our Jeep Grand Cherokee stats comparison, and it's been a bit of a scramble for Marquette, feeling very fortunate to be only 2 points down. Meanwhile, Purdue shooting a high field goal percentage, but not making any three-pointers, as the guys talked about at halftime. And three-point shooting is a big part of the Purdue story. Brian Anderson, Stephen Bardo. So there's a lot of ways you could go with this one. I think both teams feel like they could have gotten more out of that first half, but it was a very competitive first half.
Yeah, I thought it was well played on both sides, even though you've had some foul trouble on both front lines. I thought Marquette did a great job defensively, but I also thought Purdue did a good job of getting the ball inside.
Well, let's take a look at our Jeep Grand Cherokee halftime highlights, and we start with the big boys for the Boilers.
Yeah, first play of the game, Isaac Haas is establishing himself and watching the money sign. Give me the rock. And then Matt Harms showing the dexterity of a 7'3" guy with touch off the glass on the move. But Marcus Howard starting slowly, but he wasn't going to be held down for long. You go underneath the screen, he's going to hurt you. And then this was bitter beer face material right there. Shook Carson Edwards out of his boots there and was able to hit the float.
Well, it was an 11-2 Marquette run to close the half. Harms and Haas with the scoring. Harms does not look comfortable just watching him in the layup line here at halftime. He's wincing noticeably. Something's going on with him. We'll try to get a report. We'll see how many minutes he's going to be able to give. But Marquette got on their run with Haas on the bench and Harms on the bench. And now each with 2 fouls. So here we go, half number 2. Gavitt tip-off games here in Milwaukee. Marquette out of the Big East. Purdue out of the Big Ten, 2 tournament teams a year ago. And Howard slips and falls and turns it over. Edwards running the floor, and it's blocked by Hauser. Vincent Edwards with the board and a throw down by Haas.
Isaac Haas and Vince Edwards running. Marquette not getting back defensively. Easy deuce to come out of the halftime break.
That is 10 points now for Isaac Haas. Hauser in the corner. Matthias with the rebound. Marquette's game plan was to protect the three-point arc, and Purdue went 0 for 5 from behind the arc. We'll see if that game plan continues here. My question for you, Stephen, all these shooters, they haven't gotten into a rhythm this entire game for Purdue. Haas has been fantastic and scores once again, now has 12 points.
And that's why, what you saw right there, everybody staying home on Matthias, Edwards, P.J. Thompson, and Carson Edwards. They're not allowing them to get kickouts from the post.
Rousey is fouled, and he'll go to the free throw line. Third foul on Haas.
Take a look at the defense right there. So Marquette is going to be, they're staying home on the shooters. They're not double teaming. They don't want to get caught in rotation. Isaac Haas recognizes that, takes his time, point blank range.
And I beg your pardon, correction on the foul. That was Edwards, Vincent Edwards. And his third is Rousey, a terrific free throw shooter, misses the first. And with Edwards picking up his third foul, Grady Eifert will check in. That's a big loss for Purdue, their best player, preseason all Big Ten first team selection. As Rousey hits, a 93% free throw shooter last year. Rousey was 4th in the country in that category. 5-point game, Purdue with a basketball. Tough road test for the Boilermakers. And Haas with a spin and throws it down again. Boy, got it deep. And now 14 for Isaac Haas.
If Isaac Haas can stay out of foul trouble, he can do that all night long. Marquette has not been willing to double team. That was an offensive foul right there. Hauser got away with one.
Howard changing gears. And he throws it away. Thompson right there waiting for it. Purdue trying to stretch it out. Edwards with a ball fake, gives it back to Thompson. Dumps it inside, and it is blocked from behind, but a foul on Howard. Boy, ball moving well for the Purdue Boilermakers. Nice bullet pass by Grady Eifert.
Now watch Isaac Haas. He knows. Takes a look. The defense is not coming. I'm going to hit Matt Help with a chicken wing, going for the dunk.
It's not just 7'2", it's 280 as well.
Yeah, because when he first got to Purdue, some people said he was a biscuit away from 300.
That is an air ball from Grady Eifert. Grady Eifert scored just 15 points all of last year. Was just 3 for 5 from the free throw line the entire season. And he makes 1 out of 2 in his third game of the year here tonight. Point is, he hasn't had a whole lot of experience from the free throw line in game activity.
And you know what? His teammates aren't going to care. They're going to clown him about that one.
Hauser tries to go up and over Haas. And the second chance opportunities are minimal for Marquette.
This is what excellent teams do on the road. The first 5 minutes of the second half, they establish themselves. This is what Purdue is doing. Very methodical right here in their attack.
Back inside to Haas. Got a quick spin, goes the other way, and scores it with the left. Unstoppable when Haas is going this good. He is having a big night tonight. 16 points for the big man from Alabama.
Well, and Isaac Haas, if Matt Held is going to guard him one-on-one, he's going to get that all night long.
So Dave here is taking the family.
Big East College Hoops on FS1, sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Just across I-43, the beautiful campus of Marquette University. We are here at the Bradley Center, and the Purdue Boilermakers off to a great second half start, and the big man Isaac Haas is on point.
Well, the thing is, Purdue understands that they're not going to double team him, so look at the floor spacing. Even if a double team comes, Isaac Haas has got tremendous space here to get to where he wants to go with the basketball. So Marquette right now, in my opinion, Brian, they're going to have to wait until Isaac Haas takes the first dribble and then come hard to double team him and try to get the ball out of his hands. Vincent Edwards is on the bench right now with foul trouble, so you take one of the three-point shooters off the floor. So Eifert will not hurt you from the three, so Marquette going to have to make an adjustment. 8
points in the first 2.5 minutes of the second half for Isaac Haas. Marquette ball coming out of the timeout. Marquette in desperate need of a basket. And Howard with a quick release hits a three.
I'll tell you what, Dakota Mathias couldn't have been in any better position, but Marcus Howard showing you he is a gamer.
Marcus Howard with 11 points in the first half. He scored 9 in the last 5 minutes. Mathias with an answer. And this goes back to an earlier conversation. So all the activity of Marquette defensively is filtering the ball into Haas. And it's worked out well for Purdue. But there are a lot of three-point shooters for Purdue that aren't touching the rock right now.
That's true. And you saw that with Dakota Mathias putting up a brick that time. Really hasn't had a lot of opportunities. That was his first three-point shot opportunity. So Purdue's perimeter looks like they're going to get touches, but they haven't shot that well early on.
Matt Held with 3 fouls. He heads to the bench. Edwards kicks it to the corner. Here's Thompson for 3. Another one short. And battling for the rebound is Eifert. Gives it right up. Rousey on the move. 3 on 2. Make it 4 on 2. Rousey goes. Kicks it. Howard for 3. Got it. Just like that. Marquette right back in it.
The weapon of the three-point shot is a great equalizer in college basketball.
17 points for Howard. Dump it inside to Haas. Now Hauser working on him. He travels. Purdue turns it over.
And that's, well, you need your top player to step up. And right there, he surprised Dakota Mathias. And then P.J. Thompson, again, in good position. Doesn't matter. Marcus Howard, dead eye from three-point.
Best three-point shooter in the nation last year. Thompson trips Rousey. And Rousey hits the deck. Wow, these runs that have come up and down they go, and it looks like Purdue is going to establish some dominance, and then Marquette comes fighting their way back. And a team as prolific from behind the arc as Marquette is has that opportunity in any game they play to shoot themselves back in or shoot themselves right out of a game.
Yeah, and the thing that I like what Marquette is doing, they're making sure that Marcus Howard and Andrew Rousey are the main guys looking for that three-point shot. Marcus Howard, 15 points in the last 9 minutes, really igniting this offense.
Here's Sakar Adam for 3. Too strong. It's Edwards with the rebound. Edwards wants to push it. He finds Mathias, who drives. Mathias goes strong, and he's fouled. And that'll take us to a timeout. We got a good one here. Very entertaining. Big East, Big Ten, the Gavitt tip-off games.
Well, I think when you're talking about the game of college basketball, you're talking about somebody who arguably should be on the Mount Rushmore of college basketball for all he did, obviously with the Big East Conference, but also taking the game to the modern era. And he's a big reason why, and his leadership on a conference level, on a national level, has propelled the game to the heights that it's at right now.
The great Dave Gavitt and the words of Steve Wojciechowski, and the great innovator that has spawned the Gavitt tip-off games now in the 3rd season, and they have given us some fantastic November matchups, Bardo.
Yeah, that last one last night, Minnesota Province, was excellent. I'm looking at these two right here, because when you talk about the class of the Big East, you're talking about Seton Hall and Xavier, 2 of the top 4 teams in that league. Very, very talented. Seton Hall may have the oldest team in college basketball. Angel Delgado seems like he's been around for 8 seasons.
He and Kadeem Carrington on the preseason first-team All-Big Ten. Dakota Mathias at the free throw line misses the first try. Last year, Purdue matched up against Villanova at Mackey, and one of the thrilling games of this Gavitt tip-off game sequence. P.J. Thompson hit a half-court shot. Villanova won the game, but you had a sense those were 2 heavyweights, and both with a terrific run last year, and Purdue, of course, into the Sweet 16.
Jay Wright pointed to that game and saying that was one of the games that Villanova found out how good they were, because the environment in Mackey Arena, he said, was one of the best he'd seen in years.
Rousey gets the foul, almost got the basket, and he got the freshman, Nogel Eastern, off his feet. And he'll go to the line to shoot 3. Yeah, and you think about Villanova last year coming off the national championship the prior spring, and still had great talent going into Mackey, one of the great environments in all of college basketball. These Gavitt games have given us something terrific to watch in the month of November, all across now FS1 and across BTN, Big Ten Network, and it's a pleasure to be a part of it.
I agree, Brian, and the thing is, the Big East, in my opinion, doesn't get the national credit that it really deserves. And you put 70% of the conference in the NCAA tournament. That ought to give you a sense of how competitive this league is top to bottom.
Yeah, Marquette was that 7th and final team of this 10-team conference into the NCAA tournament last year. Wojciechowski's first trip to the NCAA tournament as the head coach here at Marquette. He was a part of 15 NCAA tournaments as a member of that Duke Blue Devil program, including 2 national championships. So here we go. Rousey hits the free throws. It's a 2-point game now. Purdue with a lead in the ball. Inside to Haas, and a bad shot as Hauser disrupted it. Vincent Edwards back on the floor with 3 fouls. He is Purdue's best player, and that is his game right there. Vincent Edwards, a little turnaround. He's done that twice.
It's such a beautiful move to go away from the defense. He's in foul trouble, and he's a senior, so he's going to go to his go-to move to get himself on track offensively.
That's only a second-made field goal, Vincent Edwards. He's been saddled with foul trouble, and as Purdue has worked it inside to Haas and Harms, haven't seen much of Vincent Edwards. Haven't called his name often here tonight.
And isn't that amazing? One of the more veteran, versatile players in the country. He hasn't even played in Marquette. It's still down 1.
Rousey hits a 3. It's a 1-point game. 7 made 3-pointers for Marquette. Purdue still a donut on the board. Inside, gets it into Edwards. Beautiful pass, and the finish that is waved off. But it'll be 2 free throws coming up for Vincent Edwards on a picture-perfect pass by Dakota Mathias.
Great recognition, and that's an idea or an example of the veteran level of this Purdue team. They don't have to really talk. They have great nonverbal communication because they've been in these tough scenarios before. They just make eye contact and know exactly what to do.
Edwards with a double-double against Chicago State at 15 and 12, and into the game for the first time here in the second half is Matt Harms, and let's see how productive he'll be in this window. If you're just joining us, it looked like Harms, we've got no report officially, but he's battling something, either a back, a hamstring, I'm not sure what, but he is wincing in pain in that first half. And now Rousey steps on the baseline and turns it over. That's his 4th turnover for Rousey. And a 2-point game. Purdue still with a lead.
Oh, Rousey gets in trouble sometimes when he gets too deep on the penetration. They're trying to force the issue a little bit.
Mathias, a little turnaround. Got it. Beautiful shot. Dakota Mathias. And this guy does it all. He is so valuable for the Purdue Boilermakers. And whatever he gives you offensively is great. And he gives you a lot. But he is a lockdown defender as well. And you cannot underestimate the value he brings, typically guarding the best perimeter player every night. Rousey gets the foul on the freshman. Nogel Eastern. Even taken to school a little bit by the senior Rousey. That's a 3rd foul on Eastern. And in comes Ryan Klein. Both Carson Edwards and Eastern will sit.
You just got a shot of Carson Edwards going to the bench. He wasn't particularly happy to be going over there.
Quick release by Hauser. There's Harms with the rebound.
You got to remember, Matt Harms has been beaten on by Isaac Haas and Caleb Swanigan the last year.
Oh, a little turnaround, and it goes for Vincent Edwards. And 1 for the senior Vincent Edwards. He'll try to cap off a 3-point possession for Purdue.
This is a veteran ball club, so when there's a rally by Marquette, Purdue knows exactly where the ball needs to go. Vince Edwards starting to find his offense, takes his time. Three-point opportunity.
Well, you knew he was going to come. He only tried the one field goal in the first half, or made the one field goal. He's got 7 points now. Largest deficit for Marquette was 11. But a rally at the end of the first half. That's going to be a foul on Edwards, and that's number 4. And he knows he's headed to the bench with 13 and a half left. That is a big loss for Purdue. Edwards is out. Eifert is in for Matt Painter.
I'm going to tell you something, Brian. We've got one of the best officiating crews in the business. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the rules, because we're playing touch football out here. And it's going both ways, and they're only doing what they're instructed to do. I know they want to have freedom of movement of the game, but you got to allow some kind of contact.
Howard keeps the dribble. Here's Annam, gives it up. Theo John has it knocked out of his hands, but he's fouled. He's got a big body for a freshman, Theo John, but it's a much different level of play coming from high school and being strong inside with a basketball.
No doubt about it. And watch Zakar Annam does a great job. Zakar Annam is not a scorer, but he drew the defense in a nice pocket pass to get John to the line.
6'9" freshman out of Minneapolis, Champlain Park High School, Theo John. It's a good get for Steve Wojciechowski. This Marquette team, they are loading up in a big way. Next year, they might have a chance to win this conference with what they have coming. They've got terrific prospects headed here, great recruits that have already committed, including Sam Hauser's brother Joey. You're going to get Ed Morrow back next year. Thurl Bailey's son Brandon has committed here. They're so young as it is.
You know, you mentioned Greg Elliott, and we haven't seen Jamal Cain yet, but a 6'7" pogo stick from Pontiac, Michigan. Another freshman, so I agree with you, Brian. This future is really bright for the Golden Eagles.
And not to discount this year, because they still feel like they're going to have a very good team this season. A great test early against Purdue. We go into 13 minutes. Ball's moving well. Shot clock at 8, and Dakota Mathias hits a three-pointer for Purdue. That is their first of the game.
And so that's the pick your poison situation. They double-team Haas, but you give up a three-point shot.
Howard trying to answer quickly, and the foul is going to belong to John as he fouls Isaac Haas. You know, one guy we didn't mention that will be eligible in December for Marquette is a new big man on campus, Harry Froling, who transferred from SMU. He's an Aussie, and he can shoot it a little bit. He's 6'10". He's going to give him a lot in the paint.
You know what? And I talked to him right before the season. It was really refreshing because I said, you know, how are you adjusting and what's your thought process? And he said, you know what? I took it for granted. And he gained a little weight when he transferred. And so he's come in and really worked his tail off and chomping at the bit to get in. But a very, you know, cerebral young man understanding the situation that he finds himself in.
Purdue with the lead. They're up 9. Haas misses, and the rebound is pulled down by Elliott. It's a big window here for Marquette. Purdue's trying to stretch it out on a few occasions. Their largest lead was 11. Hauser turns the corner. Hauser pulls, and he's got it. Pretty.
I want to see Sam Hauser get more aggressive offensively. He's been deferring a little bit, Brian, but he needs to step up as well. Take some of that pressure off Howard and Rousey.
7 points for Hauser. All those points in the paint for Purdue, 26 of them. And a pass by Haas gives it to Eifert. As the double team comes, Haas sets up Eifert perfectly.
Waits for the double team. Throws over the top. Eifert, great concentration at the rim. Purdue rolling.
By Jeep Grand Cherokee. The Bronze Fonz. 55-46. Purdue on an 11-3 run. A moment ago, we listened into the huddle of Matt Painter.
Howard's looking to pull the trigger, guys. We got to take up his space, all right? Good dive. Very good dive. Way to be there for him.
Brady Eifert is at the top of the key, and he's going to come right down the paint when Isaac Haas gets the basketball, sensing that there may be a double team. And as soon as Sam Hauser leads him, he goes right down the paint. Presence of mind, catch, focus, finish. Great play by Brady Eifert.
And Eifert trying to cap it off here for Matt Painter, and it's been one-on-one defense for the Purdue bigs most of the night, but an occasional double team, and Haas, since that double team, made a good pass, and Purdue gets a three-point trip down the floor, and they are up 10 now, 56-46, making a 12-3 Purdue run. Marquette had cut it within one, just under 15. Howard with that quick trigger, right on cue. And Marcus Howard with 20 points.
And you can see Dakota Mathias talking to himself like, man, I was there, but he still hit it. You just got to check. You just got to say, hey, that's a great shot.
And now on the other end, Thompson rattles a three-pointer home.
See, here's the thing. Purdue can match Marquette 3 for 3 if they need to.
No doubt. They've got three-point shooters everywhere. Led the Big Ten in three-point percentage last season. They got 4 players over 40% from behind the arc, Purdue, on their current roster. Here's Hauser, and he finds Rousey.
Good closeout by Klein.
Shot clock at 7. Rousey, long-range 3, and he rattles one in. And now starting to stretch it out. The long ball is coming.
And you know what? You just got to tip your hat. Rousey and Howard, amazing shots with tough defense.
Both of Purdue's three-pointers coming in the last few minutes. Here's Haas. The double team comes. No shot. He is fouled, and it looks like Matt Held will be called for that foul. That's number 4 on Held, who is going to need an ice bath after this game.
You're right about that. Getting crunched in the ribs every time Isaac Haas makes that spin. This big guy right here, Brian, he is the mayor in West Lafayette. The nicest guy, the most personable big that you'd ever want to meet.
He kind of blends in when he walks around campus, so he's hard to spot. As Held will go to the bench. By the way, that was Haas's first free throw attempt. Theo John is in for Marquette. 17 points. And he hits a couple of free throws. He's really improved in that area. He needs a breather, so Painter goes back to Harms. And it is Purdue with a 9-point lead. Approaching the 10.5 mark in regulation. Gavin, tip-off games. This is a good one here. Purdue and Marquette.
I want to see Sam Hauser get involved. I think he can take advantage of Brady Eifert. That matchup will favor him.
And Hauser springs open. The three-pointer comes, and the three-pointer falls.
I think Coach Wojciechowski sees it as well. That was a nice misdirection into a screen roll to get Hauser free on the weak side.
Marquette keeps hanging around. Vincent Edwards on the bench with 4 fouls for Purdue, and yet they have maintained the lead. Here is Mathias, long 2. No, Eifert kept it alive. Another opportunity for Purdue.
Most games at this level are decided by 2 possessions. And anytime that you can get an extra possession off an offensive rebound, Brady Eifert giving up great effort.
Purdue is plus 10 in the rebounding column, and here's Harms, and the lefty delivers another strike for the Boilermakers.
I'm telling you, man, he is going to be something. If he can continue to get stronger, Brian, he's got great touch with that left hand.
Here's Cheatham now. Klein's on him, and a whistle off the ball. Foul's going to be on Grady Eifert away from the ball. He was trying to hawk Rousey, and that's going to put Marquette in the bonus now. Just shy of 9.5 minutes remaining in regulation, and a lot of free throws available for Marquette. Mathias will sit. Back is Carson Edwards in the game.
Marquette does a really good job of recognizing when they get into the penalty. You're going to see Rousey and Howard really put the ball on deck beneath Cheatham as well to try to pick up fouls to get to the line. It's going to be interesting here.
Stevens Point High School. Sam Hauser. And his baby brother is no baby. He is a stud. He is one of the best high school players in the country, and the Hauser boys are going to make some noise here next season for Marquette. 63-57. Purdue has the lead and the ball, approaching 9 minutes left. Edwards back on the floor. Carson Edwards, that is. And Edwards gives it up. Ball's moving well. Klein steps back. Three-pointer is true.
You can't do anything else better defensively than Marquette did that time. This Purdue really on point.
Rousey turns it over again in transition. Edwards has it blocked, and it's a foul. Hauser called for the foul. Edwards is fearless, no matter the height advantage.
Watch this here. You know, great defense, but the defense is in rotation, and once that happens, Purdue taking practice jump shots, meaning they're wide open. Ryan Klein, good job sidestepping the defender.
Purdue's hit three three-pointers in this game, all three coming in the second half. Edwards to the line with 6 points. And while not stuffing the stat sheet at this point, he has had a huge impact in this game defensively. Sakar Annam is in for Theo John. Carson Edwards is coming off a 25-point game against Chicago State, career high for him. Hit 4 three-pointers in that game on Sunday, and he's got 8 points now after 2 free throws at the line.
You know, I know Coach Wojciechowski's telling his young team, don't get frustrated, because Marquette has played very good defense, but this is one of the elite teams in the nation. In my opinion, the top 10 team in Purdue. So Marquette's still within striking range.
11-point game makes it a 9-point game after the little floater by Howard. 22 points for Marcus Howard. Last year was on the Big East All-Freshman team.
And I think Coach Wojciechowski was telling his team, do not double team on the block.
Gonna let Hauser take arms. In the corner, Edwards. And Edwards hits a 3 on a great look. What beautiful ball movement by the Boilermakers.
The floor spacing is really excellent. Oh my goodness.
What an answer. What a shot. Degree of difficulty.
9.9. Falling out of bounds. Almost over the corner of the top of the backboard and nothing but cotton.
This is like a shot you'd see at the end of the shot clock. 10-point game. Inside to Harms. Annam going to be called for the foul at C. The officials are looking at each other here. And Sakar Annam will be called for the foul. How about this? Klein sets up Edwards. Not to be outdone. Rousey, a little acrobatic 3, takes us to a timeout in a 10-point game.
Look, there's no law that says your truck can...
61, a 10-point game, 7:37 remaining in regulation. And a moment ago, we hear from Steve Wojciechowski in the Marquette huddle.
We're not competing at all with defensive end. They're just allowed to do whatever they want. Drive us. They got us in full rotation. We just want to win on offense. We're not going to win just by scoring.
Well, and that is coming from a coach as a player who was the defensive player of the year in the nation, and this is what he's talking about.
Yeah, and this is a tough example because they got him in rotation. But here's the thing, B.A. Coach Wojciechowski's just trying to get his guys fired up and to play a little bit harder. But Purdue has had 9 guys score. 9 different players have scored. It's not that Marquette is playing poor defensively. It's that Purdue is an elite offensive team. These are older guys. They played all summer. They're in midseason form at this point. So I don't think Marquette is poor defensively. It's just Purdue is just elite.
Matt Harms at the free throw line for Purdue. Last year, Marquette allowed over 75.5 points per game. That was ranked 257 in the NCAA. There are 351 schools in the NCAA. 257 for a program like Marquette. They allowed nearly 37% three-point shooting, so a defensive lapse is certainly on the radar for Steve Wojciechowski. Feels like they are a better defensive team this year, but they are in the danger zone right now with 7.5 to go. They trail by 11. Purdue has been able to keep Marquette at arm's length. Rousey.
Oh, good D by P.J. Thompson.
Rousey trying to get the ball to Hauser. Shot clock at 9. And Annam had gone to the basket, and a turnover as Hauser throws it away. And Purdue with all that experience, not just producing on the offensive end. How about defensively?
See, Rousey usually gets guys right there with that up fake. P.J. Thompson stays home and then crowds him. Makes it very difficult for him. P.J. Thompson, unsung on this team. Best assist to turnover ratio in the nation. Can shoot the three. Good defender, very integral to this Purdue attack.
And an all-academic performer in the Big Ten as well. He is a savvy player. Didn't bite on the Rousey head fake. Inside to Harms, double team comes again. Harms dribbles out of it. Shot clock down to 5, and Edwards with a tough shot, and Edwards hits a long 2.
Wow. Sam Hauser's inside of that Purdue jersey. Doesn't matter. Carson Edwards starting to heat up.
Biggest lead of the game for Purdue. They're up 13. Here's Annam, always looking to dish, does so, and Hauser travels. Another turnover for Marquette. That is number 10.
And that size really bothers guys when they go to the rim. They have a little bit of daylight, but when you see Harms at 7'3" or Haas at 7'1", not a lot of room to get that shot off.
Well, Purdue's done exactly what they want to do here in this second half as Held checks back in with 4 fouls. On the road, they've taken the crowd out. They have withstood a couple of the Marquette three-point runs. And that's going to be a foul on Howard now. This is what the great teams do. Now, Purdue comes in 19th in the country. This season's just getting started. And I think you tweeted this out earlier today, but I'm in agreement. This is a top 10 looking team that Matt Painter has. This is a team that you could see certainly as a Sweet 16, potentially as a Final Four if they get things rolling from three-point range.
I totally agree, B.A. And here's why I think people are not giving them top 10 love on the national level. When you lose a guy like Biggie Swanigan, All-American player who's with the Portland Trailblazers right now, you don't think that Purdue can be as good. I think they're better. They're a year older. They got a chance to go overseas and play their World University games. And Matt Harms at 7'3" gives a whole different look to this team.
Now they can beat you in a lot of ways. Even Steve Wojciechowski talking about this year's Boilermakers. If Rousey hits a 3 and he's fouled. Andrew Rousey has a chance to make this a 4-point trip down the floor for Marquette.
You're talking about some heart. Andrew Rousey, never afraid of the situation. He's going to keep competing, as is Marcus Howard.
Steve Wojciechowski first saw him as an assistant at Duke. Rousey playing for UNC Asheville. Had his eye on him at that point. Once he got the job here at Marquette, Rousey transferred, sat out a year. He's been terrific in his 2 seasons with the Golden Eagles. Rousey with 21 points, 16 in the second half. 11-point game. Haas inside, Held with the foul. That is number 5 on Matt Held. And Haas is going to the free throw line. Held fouls out with 5:51 left.
Just the methodical precision in the half-court set by Purdue here in the second half has been fun to watch. The ball swings side to side. They go a guard big screen across the paint. They get Isaac Haas in great position. Matt Held can't do anything but foul in that situation. I mean, Matt Held just trying to hold his ground, but point-blank range, Isaac Haas is going to have great success this close to the rim.
It's like a taser in the paint. Stuns you.
Yes.
And Held is gone. He did all he could, and most players around the country do all they can against Haas. The plan always against Purdue is to try to get Haas in foul trouble. But what they have now is Harms. And what Wojo said about Purdue is pick your poison. There are multiple weapons like you're talking about. This is a team that is without one of the great players in the country in Biggie Swanigan, now with the Blazers, but they are a team that is very balanced and has some serious firepower from behind the arc.
Well, we talked about they've taken 47 threes in 2 games before they came into this one, but they've got a 30-10 advantage scoring in the paint.
Howard goes up and over Haas. Back to an 11-point game. Marcus Howard has 24 points tonight. But Purdue has their thumb on Marquette and getting what they want offensively. And a foul. Howard comes in and clips Eifert. Just no answers defensively for Marquette.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen zone by Marquette at all this evening, because, you know, if you're going to stay at home on the threes, Isaac Haas is going to hurt you. If you double team Isaac Haas, he's going to find either Eifert cutting to the rim, or they're going to get the defense in a scramble situation.
Well, Held is gone now. Howard is out. And the foul starting to stack up for Marquette. That is a major weapon lost. Howard knew it. 24 points. 22 of those 24 coming since the 5-minute mark of the first half. He caught fire at the end of the first half, but he's out. And a big weapon for Marquette is done for the day.
And you know what? Marcus Howard didn't have a shot attempt in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game. And, you know, he got going and got his team back into this ball game. So
Eifert hits the first free throw.
Marcus Howard, we look at him on the bench and frustration setting in as he hit his last 7 shots.
And 2 free throws for Grady Eifert. He's come back well from his air ball.
Oh, I'll tell you what. But you know what? In the film session tomorrow, his guy's going to clown him.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are. Grady Eifert, his big brother, out this year. He's tied in with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's injured. Rousey looking for contact, able to hit. Wow. They lowered the boom on P.J. Thompson. Thompson was looking for a foul.
I was looking for a foul as well. But good concentration by Rousey to get the finish.
Now, Marquette certainly has the weapons to shoot their way back into this one. But the question is, can they stop Purdue on this end of the floor? So far, they have not been able to. And Haas travels. Theo John was right there with him, and Haas walks with it. A turnover for Purdue.
Now, I know Theo John is strong and big, but he better be careful on the other end, because if Isaac Haas lowers the boom like that, there could be some sparks coming out of that paint.
Purdue with only their 2nd turnover of this second half. Had 8 of them in the first half. Rousey comes up short, and that's going to be Marquette basketball.
Well, and here's the thing. Now that Marquette's down 11 with Marcus Howard on the bench fouled out, Andrew Rousey, he may look to chuck every single time he touches it.
Well, Hauser's got 3-point range as well, as does Cheatham.
I go to Sam Hauser right now. He's got the smaller Dakota Mathias guarding him. They need to get him on the post.
Trying to get him out there. Mathias pushes him out beyond the arc. Hauser goes. Ball fake. Right there is Mathias. Can't get the bounce, and it's out on Haas, and that'll be another possession for Marquette. I think Terry Weimer's coming in to clean this one up. Rob Riley had it out on Purdue, or on Marquette, and overturned. Good work there by the officials.
Yeah. And even though Hauser didn't get that to go, that was a high percentage shot. And as long as Mathias is guarding him, if Rousey doesn't have an open look, I'd look for Sam Hauser right now.
Haas is out, Harms is in. Give Harms credit for playing through some pain. And here's Rousey. Comes up short. 3 opportunities for Marquette. They come up empty on all 3 occasions.
So
and
now,
we're under 4 minutes. Timeout, Matt Painter. One last push for Purdue, and they're looking at a big road win early in the schedule. They're up 11 in Milwaukee.
Saturday on Fox.
The Purdue Boilermakers start 4 seniors, and with Vincent Edwards in foul trouble, It has been Isaac Haas who has taken the lead with 20 points.
He really has. You know, Purdue was waiting to see how Marquette was going to guard them, and Matthias is starting to pick it up. Isaac Haas got the party started early. A nice balance from their seniors.
P.J. Thompson, Vincent Edwards, Dakota Matthias, all hovering around the perimeter with the big man in the middle, Isaac Haas, who is 6 points shy of a career high. Set that mark last year in November. And it's an 11-point game. The Purdue Boilermakers with Vincent Edwards back on the floor. Saddled with foul trouble in this one, just 8 points. And back inside to Haas. Double team comes. Edwards wide open and a good find by Haas.
They're putting on a clinic right now. Isaac Haas is putting on a clinic. You come and double team him. His sight, his vision, his patience, so impressive.
You know, Isaac Haas went into some of the NBA workouts last year just to see where he was, obviously returning to Purdue, but he took a lot of great feedback as he disrupts that shot by Cheatham. Steven, he took a lot of great feedback, and to play at the next level, he knows there are areas of improvement, being quicker vertically, being able to set those screens, and you got to be able to pass. And he's dished the ball very well tonight. He's recognized those double teams.
It's been a beautiful thing to see. You don't typically see a lot of bigs in college basketball. One, get the ball like he had tonight, and two, make the right decision. He really hasn't had any turnovers. He's done a great job. You saw what he just did. He just gave a hug to Theo John, who fouled out, showing respect for the young freshman. That's a great job by Isaac Haas.
Well, he's turning the narrative tonight. Marquette came into this game trying to send the basketball into Haas, maybe get him in foul trouble, and he has fouled out 2 of the Marquette big men tonight in John and Helt, and he is a much improved free throw shooter, and he's got 22 on the board in this one as Harms is in, and we might have seen the last of Isaac Haas. What a game.
Yep.
What a weapon.
Yes, patience, patience, patience. Never rushed his opportunities. It was excellent tonight.
Greg Elliott getting some run here for Marquette. Ball's on the ground. Thompson and Rousey, and a timeout. Hauser called the timeout with Rousey in possession. And we'll take the break with him. Under 3 to go. The Gavitt tip-off games on FS1.
Ho, ho, ho! This is the best Christmas.
Gavitt games continue tomorrow on FS1. Action starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Archie Miller's Indiana Hoosiers squaring off with number 22 Seton Hall, and that's followed by Butler taking on Maryland. Gavitt games on FS1 are streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Talking about 2 of the premier forwards in college basketball. Justin Jackson dipped his toe into the NBA process over the summer and chose to come back. And Keelan Martin, one of the more efficient scorers in all of college basketball.
Marquette gets a score coming out of that timeout, 84-71. Purdue trying to take this one to the finish line. They have been impressive. Marquette got within 1 in the second half, and then Purdue has just been able to keep them at arm's length. Edwards, little ball fake. Man, he has so many tools in the shed, does Carson Edwards.
Yep. And that's why this team is going to be so dangerous. He's a guy, he's the one that can go create a shot as the shot clock's running down.
12 points for Edwards. Rousey misfires. One thing about Carson Edwards, he's a sophomore. By the time he gets to be a senior, you're going to have one of those conversations. Is he still in Purdue?
Yep.
And I can't imagine a sophomore playing more games than Carson Edwards has in his first 2 years. Remember, they took a trip last year overseas, a summer trip. They had another summer trip this year at the World University Games. Put it this way, Purdue's day 1 of official workouts this year for everybody else was day 60 for the Boilermakers after their run. They played 11 games overseas in Taiwan last year, representing the United States in the 2017 World University Games. They had a runner-up finish, a silver medal. Lost to Lithuania in the final. Edwards was a star last year in Spain, and he was impressive this year in Taiwan.
Oh, bounce away. Yep, bounce pass there. That would have been a dunk for Vince Edwards, but that's about the only thing wrong that Carson Edwards has done this evening. But yeah, it's a great opportunity for Purdue to go over there and have those games that you mentioned And they got a little stale in the preseason because they've been playing so much. But now that the season has started, you see that they are really sharp. They know exactly where the ball needs to go on most possessions.
Well, they didn't have a lot to introduce, but they do have some impact young guys, including Harms at Eastern. Working the clock, B.J. Thompson always protecting the basketball. Inside to Vincent Edwards, trying to get him a few touches here down the stretch. Been a quiet day with foul trouble. And here comes Marquette as we approach the 1-minute mark. Well, good test for Marquette. They are headed to Maui. They'll be playing in the Maui Gym Invitational. Potential matchups with VCU, Cal, Wichita State. That is their next setup. They're going to actually leave Thursday. They're going to have a workout day at the Clippers facility. Of course, the Clippers head coach, Doc Rivers, famous Marquette alum, and they're going to work out there and then break up the trip to Maui. They'll start action Monday.
Tell you what, they are hosting Georgia December 3rd. Georgia's got the SEC preseason player of the year. Mateen, I think that's how you pronounce it, Mateen. But that's going to be a tough test as well. So this young Golden Eagles team, they're going to know what they're about come Big East Conference play.
And meanwhile, Purdue might have the toughest schedule in the Big Ten, the way it works out. Their road games in the Big Ten, they have a beast of a schedule. They're on their way to the Bahamas. And they're going to be participating in Atlantis in a great tournament there. That's turned out to be one of the best December tournaments we have going in the game. This is going to take us to the end here as Marquette and Purdue and the Gavin tip-off games wind it down. Impressive road win for the Boilermakers, who are going to improve to 3-0 as they get ready to hit the road. They'll play Fairfield Saturday, and then Tuesday they have Tennessee in the Bahamas. Good showing by Matt Painter's crew.
Yeah, excellent poise to establish themselves in the first 5 minutes of the second half to go on to win by double digits.
Well, big game for Isaac Haas. Haas comes up with 22 points. Impressive showing for the Boilermakers. After the break, we'll go to Mike Hill and Steve Lavin for Fox College Hoops Extra. Once again, our final, Purdue 86, Marquette 71.
For some,